Have you ever looked at someone's life and thought, why did God let that happen? Not just any loss, but everything. Everything. That's the story of Job, and it's one of the most misunderstood books in the entire Bible. Most people think Job is about a man who suffered so God could prove a point. That's not it. Job is about what happens when faith gets tested, not by the world, but by God himself. And the answer Job gets? It changes everything we think we know about suffering. Let me take you to ancient Arabia, somewhere around 2000 BC. Job is prosperous, righteous, and respected. He's got everything: 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 oxen, 500 donkeys, 10 children, servants everywhere. More importantly, he's devoted. Every day he's making sacrifices for his family, praying that they stay pure. By every measure, Job has lived right. He's done the work. He's earned this blessing. But then we get an odd scene. Heaven opens up. God and Satan have a conversation. Satan looks at Job and says something that sounds almost jealous. Of course Job worships you. Look at everything you've given him. Give him nothing, and he'll curse you to your face. God accepts the challenge. Everything Job has, except his life, is now on the table. And that's when the messengers come. 4 of them. Each one brings the same kind of news. Your life is about to shatter into pieces. The first messenger arrives while Job's oldest son is throwing a feast. The message: Subi-Uns raided the oxen and donkeys, killed the servants. Job lost his primary livelihood in an instant. But the messenger isn't done. A second one is already there, almost breathless. Lightning struck the flocks. The sheep are gone, burnt alive. The servants who were watching them, dead too. Job hasn't even processed that news when a third messenger runs up. Chaldean raiders. 3 raiding parties, they attacked the camels, took everything, killed everyone guarding them. And then the 4th messenger. This one is the worst. Your oldest son, your daughters, all 10 of your children. They were eating and drinking at their brother's house when a great wind came from the desert. It collapsed the house on top of them, all dead. Let me pause right there. This isn't hypothetical loss. This is the destruction of your entire life in the span of maybe 2 hours. Your wealth, your children, your future lineage, your legacy, gone. In that moment, Job has a choice. He could rage at God. He could curse the heavens like Satan predicted. Instead, he tears his robe, shaves his head, a sign of mourning, and falls to the ground. Then he says something that changes the tone of the entire book. Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. But suffering isn't one-dimensional. It compounds. It gets personal. In the next wave, boils cover Job's skin from his feet to the crown of his head. Imagine pain so severe you can't sit comfortably anywhere. You can't sleep. Every physical sensation is agony. Job's wife, the one person who should stand with him, looks at him and says, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." Even she has abandoned him. Now Job is alone, physically destroyed, and every person around him is about to tell him exactly why this is all his fault. 3 of Job's friends hear about his suffering and come to comfort him. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. They're not trying to be cruel. They're trying to make sense of it. But they're operating from a theology that sounds righteous on the surface and crumbles when you press it. The theology is simple. Righteousness leads to blessing. Sin leads to suffering. Therefore, if you're suffering, you must have sinned. It's a perfect mathematical equation, and it's completely wrong. Eliphaz speaks first. He's gentle at first, almost deferential. Job, remember, you've counseled troubled people before. You've strengthened the weak. But now it's your turn to suffer, and you can't take it. Think about this. Who among the innocent has ever perished? Surely those who sow trouble reap it. The implication is clear. You did something to deserve this. Bildad goes harder. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? When your children sinned against him, he gave them over to the penalty of their sin. But if you seek God earnestly, if you make your appeal to him, if you're pure and upright, even now he will restore your fortunes. Translation: If you just confess your hidden sin, God will forgive you. This assumes Job has secret sins. It assumes suffering is always punishment. Zophar is even more direct. Should a man full of talk be vindicated? Should your idle talk reduce others to silence? Your schemes and your iniquity prove you're guilty. God demands less of you than you deserve. Job hasn't sinned secretly. He's lived righteously by every measure that matters. And these friends, these men who came to comfort him, have instead become his accusers. They've weaponized theology against him. Job's response is devastating. He doesn't defend himself endlessly. Instead, he makes a demand. What I desire is to speak to the Almighty and argue my case before God. Job wants to take his case directly to heaven. He wants God himself to explain why this happened. And God is listening. The waiting is excruciating. Job keeps talking, keeps defending himself, keeps expressing his pain. His friends keep offering their useless theology. But in chapter 38, the silence breaks. A whirlwind appears. God is about to speak, and he doesn't start with sympathy. He doesn't say, "Job, I know it's been hard." He doesn't apologize or explain Satan's role in the wager. He asks questions, and every single one of them is designed to expand Job's mind. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? God isn't interested in Job's suffering right now. He's interested in Job's perspective. He's reminding Job that the universe operates at scales that human comprehension can barely touch. Have you ever given orders to the morning or shown the dawn its place? Have the gates of death been revealed to you? Have you comprehended the vast expanses of the earth? Tell me all of this, if you know. And then God moves from the inanimate to the animate. He starts describing creatures Job would recognize but wouldn't fully understand. Do you hunt the prey for the lioness? Do you know when the mountain goats give birth? Can you count the months they carry their young? God describes the ostrich, which leaves her eggs to be warmed by the sand and forgets that a foot may crush them. He describes the horse, which laughs at fear. He describes the eagle that builds her nest on high cliffs. And then, the climax. God describes two creatures that most modern readers think are mythological, but Job would have recognized them as real threats in his world. Can you pull in Lu Vi Uthun with a fish hook? Can you tie down its tongue with a rope? Can you pierce its nose with a snare? Nothing on earth is its equal, a creature without fear. Look at Behemoth, which I made as I made you. It eats grass like an ox. What strength it has in its loins, what power in the muscles of its belly. God is saying something radical. The world is full of creatures and forces that are beyond your comprehension. You don't understand nature. You don't understand power. You don't understand suffering on a cosmic scale. So why did you expect to understand the reasons behind your loss? But here's the key moment. Job finally responds, not with defense, not with explanation, but with humility. I know that you can do all things, that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. You asked, who is this that obscures my counsel without knowledge? Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. Job doesn't get an explanation. He gets something better. He gets perspective. He gets to stand before the infinite and realize that his demand for justification was itself the problem. After Job's repentance, God turns his attention to the three friends, and his words are sharp. I am angry with you and your two friends, because you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. God doesn't say that the friends were wrong about the mechanics of suffering. He says they were wrong about Job. They assumed sin where there was none. They weaponized theology. God tells them to go to Job and ask him to pray for them. Job will pray, and God will accept his prayer, even though Job's life is still destroyed. Even though Job's children are still dead. The prayer comes first, the restoration comes second, and then the restoration begins. The Lord restored Job's fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. Job's friends and family come and comfort him. Everyone gives him gifts, gifts that represent restoration and apology. The text gives us the numbers: 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 oxen, 1,000 donkeys. And then, crucially, he had 7 sons and 3 daughters. 10 children to replace the 10 he lost. But here's what matters. Job is the only figure in the Old Testament whose daughters are named. They're given names, they're given inheritance, they're treated with dignity. Jem Ai-Mu, Keziah, and Karen Hapuk. They're not just replacement children, they're individuals. Job lived 140 more years. He saw 4 generations of his children. The book closes with him dying old and full of years. But the real restoration isn't the numbers, it's the encounter. Job met God, not an idea about God, not a theology about God, God himself. And that meeting changed everything about how he understood suffering, faith, and loss. So what's the real point of Job? It's not that suffering is a test we pass by being faithful. It's that suffering can become a doorway to something deeper, to intimacy with God that doesn't require explanation or justification. The world will tell you that loss means you did something wrong, that poverty means you lack faith, that grief means you're not grateful enough. Job is here to tell you that's a lie. God's question to Job was never, "Why do you suffer?" It was, "Do you trust me even when you don't understand?" And Job's answer was yes. The question is, what's yours? Comment Job below if you want the full Bible Arc series on suffering, faith, and God's silence. We're going deep into the stories that change everything.